Hello, everyone. Hi. We are going to try something a little bit different. I know that we talked about having live Saturday class, but we have a lot of students that are working part-time jobs and a lot of students with other activities. So I'm going to try to make a video lecture so that we can have some more flexibility and options. So I will make a video lecture for the first part of class, and the second part of class, discussion workbook, we will do later in week 14. So hopefully you guys like this. Joao, like and subscribe. Just kidding. If you want to enjoy your afternoon, enjoy your Saturday, that is fine. You must watch this video before next Wednesday's class. All right. So you must watch this video before next Wednesday's class. So I will go through the lecture in this video, and then we will have our next class on Wednesday. And then in week 14, we will do our discussion time. So hopefully you understand that. I'm going to go through and explain this the best that I can. So just like a normal class, I will open up the PPT and we will get started. And I'll explain this for the lecture. All right, so this week we are doing Unit 11 in our book. Shamkamanyo, it looks like I have some slideshow settings that I need to adjust. All right, wait 1 minute, please. Okay, let's try this again. I'll share the PPT. Hopefully you can see this and I'm not wasting my time. All right, so like I said, Unit 11, Pushing Yourself, Success and Failure. We'll be talking about conditional situations as well. So let me go through this. Announcements, like I've said, Writing Center, please use that as help for your assignments, either homework or the project coming up. You can sign up on UN and you can get a participation point for this semester's score. You have your expressions quiz next week. So you will need to study Unit 11 expressions for this week because they will be on next week's quiz. And we have our video project coming up in week 14. So please pay attention to this, focus on this. I cannot help you because this is a video. So if you have questions, please email me. So basically what we're going to do is, this is a Unit 11 we are doing today on Saturday, but we are going to do the lecture, Unit 11 lecture this week, and video project submission week, we are going to do Unit 11 discussion time. All right, so that's when we will do our discussion time for this unit. So please be ready for that. You still must do your homework before next week's class, and you still must do your expressions quiz next week, okay? So even though we are doing this a little bit different, you still have expectations for homework, and you will still need to do discussion time for week 14. Now for your expressions quiz, these will be the sections that you need to prepare. These will be the sections from the discussion workbook that will be on the quiz, only the sections that we have studied. These will be 20 multiple choice questions, all right? So today's section is 11.1. You can find that here. This is the section that we will study for today, 11.1. These are the expressions that you need to study. All right, so moving on, video project. I've made it shorter. So if you're doing just one person, it can be 3 to 5 minutes. If you are going to be doing 2 people, a pair, it must be 5 to 8 minutes. So I've made it a little bit shorter time. So hopefully you like that. Should be a little bit easier and simple. You will need to submit your topic for approval before next week, and you must write 300 words minimum. All right, so that's going to be a minimum for that. And please use the Writing Center to help you write that. All right, so attendance, we are not going to do attendance this way because it is an online video lecture, but You will need to do the attendance quiz, which I have posted in UClass. So please do that quiz to get your attendance for this video lecture. Okay? So we can skip attendance for that. Warm-up conversation. Today's content is about challenges, right? It's about challenging, doing things that are risky or challenging. It's about doing things having failure and success. And it's also talking about standing out, right? So standing out means to be unique and to be different than other people. So ask yourself these questions and kind of talk to yourself, self-talk about these, right? So a challenging situation, how did you feel before it? How did you feel after it? Failure, is it sometimes good? And 3, is it better to stand out, which means be unique, be different, or is it better to be similar to everyone else? All right, so think about those questions. We'll talk about those in week 11. Sorry, not week 11, week 14 will be our discussion time. So some vocabulary that we're going to take a look at in this section of our book. So if we go to our book here, we can go to this reading. Please read this. So you will need to read this. You will need to understand these expressions, this vocabulary. It is in our expressions quiz for next week. So please review those and pay attention to those. And we'll go over those real quickly here. So set up, right? Set up means to start a business, to begin, to create something. It didn't work out. It failed to be successful, or you failed to do what you planned to do. To get over something means to recover, to forget, to move on. To work at something means to continually try to improve, to practice your skill, right? So maybe you need to work at the piano to get better at the piano, or work at your soccer to get better at soccer. Keep up means to continue to try, to continue to do something. And give up means to quit or to stop. So you can give up coffee, give up cigarettes. Stand out means to be unique or different or noticeable, right? So if I had green hair, if my hair color was green, I would really stand out. And figure it out means to make a solution or to solve a problem, right? So figure that out. So we can see that in our book. When we go to our textbook here, please read this section so that you can know what those mean. So please review that, read that section about failure and success. Okay, so that the content in there will be important because that is on our section here. All of these are in here for our expressions. So please look at that and review those expressions. All right, so moving on, we're going to keep going to 11.2. There's a little reading activity. We have more vocabulary here, and we're going to talk about conditional situations. All right, so let's take a look at that. So what is a conditional situation? It's not real. It's gashang, right? So we think about just some situations, and we think about what would I do? For example, down here, if you won the lotto, if you won the lotto, what would you do with all that money, that won, right? So if I won the lotto, what would you do, right? So this is not will. We cannot say need I will, because it's not real. It's not future. So we're talking about would, which is gasang. So let's go there. We'll go to 11.2 in our book, a couple pages over. Now, in this listening section, we're going to go ahead and listen to this, all right? And before we do that, we need to preview some vocabulary. So this vocabulary down here will help us understand kind of what this reading section or listening section is talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and preview those real quickly. Talk about what some of these are. So, for example, advantage. What is an advantage? Something good that helps you, right? Something good gives you some benefit. Consider is to think about something very carefully. Disadvantage is the opposite. I mean, something that makes your situation more difficult, more hard, or less favorable. Effect is a change caused by something else, so cause and effect. And goal is something that you want to do in the future. Option is a choice, right? Option. Now, the next one, purpose, right? This is a little bit difficult, but this means why you do something. So your reason for doing something, kind of the reason that you have inside you, similar to your goal, your purpose. Research is the study of a subject to get more information. Result is something that happens because something else happens. So you did this and this was the result. You took the test and this was your result. All right. And then we have reward, which is something that is good that happens to you because you did something well, right? So you did something and you get a reward, maybe some money or some cake or a present, right? Risk is the possibility of something bad happening. So that's a risk. Riding a motorcycle is a risk. Something bad could happen. Bungee jumping is a risk. Something bad could happen. Situation, a set of things that are happening at a particular time, right? Sanghang, right? So what is the situation? What is this condition, this current thing that we are doing? All right, so please keep those in mind, and we will look at those in our reading here. So in this situation, in this blue box, this is an interview, someone who is a very successful businesswoman, and they are interviewing her, asking her about risk and what she would do. So to get a better idea of this situation, this is what they're talking about. This is their topic. Would you, Gatang, swim across a river of crocodiles? These guys right here, crocodiles, very dangerous, for $1 million, right? So this right here. So are you going to swim across this river to get to that money, to get to that $1 million? If that water is full of crocodiles, would you do that? So the answer, possible answer is yes, I would, or no, I wouldn't, right? Yes, I would, or no, I wouldn't. All right, so that's the situation that they're going to be talking about here. So let's go into our book and listen to that. All right, so we can see crocodile and the interview. So I'll go ahead and increase the size here. And we will play this audio. You can also play it on your own if you want to.
Lesson 11.2, page 110, exercises 1B and 1C.
So let's get right to it. Why do you think you've been so successful? Is it because you've taken risks?
I think that's a big part of it, yes.
Would you risk everything for money and success?
All right, so here we see would you, gasang, not will you. Will you mire algo? Because this is gasang changrong, right? Conditional situation. So I want you to underline any vocabulary, underline any area that they say would you. All right.
Even your life?
My life? In what kind of situation?
Well, would you swim across a river full of crocodiles if I offered you $1 million?
Now that's interesting. Let's see. If I succeeded, the reward would be fantastic. That much money would have a big effect on my life. But I'd have to consider the risk carefully and think about how to reduce it. So, I'd find out about the number of crocodiles in the river. Um, I'd research ways to protect myself. If I spent $100,000 on a crocodile proof suit, I'd still make $900,000.
A crocodile proof suit. Now, what does that mean? It's kind of silly and strange, but it is a kind of suit or armor protection that a crocodile cannot bite or damage. Crocodile proof, right? So, kind of crocodile proof. It's armor or a suit, not real, that a crocodile cannot penetrate. All right, so that's he's kind of just creating imaginary situation.
You're really thinking about this seriously.
In business, you have to consider all of the options, compare the advantages and disadvantages, and then decide if the risk is worth it.
And if your research showed the risk was high?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to spend $1 million if I ended up inside a crocodile.
Got it. All right, so this is the language that we're focusing on today. Would you do this? Yes, I would. No, I wouldn't. All right, so would you, speaking about 가상 situations, and these are called unreal conditions. If we go to the next page here, we can see these kind of unreal conditions right up here, not real, right? We're just kind of using our imagination. So these are imagined situations or predicted results. We can see the pattern here that we use. We often use if plus would plus another verb plus another 과거 verb. So down here we can see, for example, would you swim across a river if I offered you $1 million? Yes, I would. No, I wouldn't. If I succeeded, the reward would be fantastic, right? If I did this, it would be great. If I spent $100,000, I would still make $900,000. I wouldn't be able to spend $1 million if I ended up inside a crocodile. So those are kind of the situations that we're talking about, not real, right? If I did this, I would do this. So we can take a look more simply in the PPT file here. For example, conditional sentences. 가상, 동사, and 과거 are all used together to make these conditional situations. So what would you do if you won the lotto, right? So what would you do if you won the lotto? So we need 가상, which is signified by our modal would, and 과거, won. Past tense is the most important thing that a lot of students forget. You need to use this in the past tense. It is not a past tense situation, but we just use the past tense to make the conditional situation. So if you answered this question, the answer to this question, for example, if I won the lotto, I would buy new cars for my family. If I won the lotto, I would buy new cars for my family. All right, so this is the content that we use for this conditional sentence. 과거, signified by past tense, won, and 가상, would, right? So what would you do? For example, if we're looking at these kind of questions for practice, what would you do if you won the lotto and why? If I won the lotto, I would, Where would you go if you owned a private plane? Why? If I owned a private plane, I would, right? Can give some situation that you would do. Now see, we use would here. This is the key part, would, not will. Will, mabu, because will is real. Will is future. This is not future. This is not real. This is 가상. So if you had more free time today, what would you do? Pattern, if I had more free time, I would, So think about that and create some sentences in the textbook. So down here is some good practice. Go ahead and write out some sentences for this section. Need a little bit bigger there. So section C, write some sentences, okay? So if I had to run a marathon, I would do what? Now we reverse it, situation number 2, for example, I would save money if I had a part-time job, or I would save money if I planned to travel. Number 3, if I had to give up one thing. Remember, give up means to quit or stop. So if I have to quit or stop one thing, let me think. I would stop drinking coffee if I had to give up one thing. All right, and number 4, we can say, if my friends, I would be excited. So if my friends gave me a party or threw me a party, I would be excited, right? If my friends threw me a party, I would be excited. Number 5, if I were really strong, if I were really strong, I would what? If I were really strong, I would do physical competition or do some sports. Number 6, my parents would be happy if what? Some 가상 situation, some imaginary situation. My parents would be happy if I visited them in America, right? I visited them. My parents would be happy if I visited them. All right, so this is basically what we're focusing on today, guys. So these are the situations that we're talking about. Unreal, not real, 가상 situations. If you did this, I would do this. If would, okay? So that's the pattern that you need to focus on. And that's basically all that we're going to do today. Now, if we go to our discussion workbook, we can see these questions here. All right, so with your homework, you still need to do your homework. You still need to choose 5 questions and answer these with complete information. Okay, so if we're taking a look at these, talk about a problem or situation that you had to figure out. That's part of our vocabulary for today. Solve the solution. Do you give up easily? So do you quit easily? Do you stop something easily? Or do you refuse to give up, right? Never going to give up. Number 3, are you someone who takes risks or are you someone who avoids risk? So you take risk or you avoid risk. Number 4, talk about something that didn't work out. So you had a plan, but it failed. Why did it fail? What is a difficult challenge that you had to overcome and what happened? Okay, so talk about some difficult thing you had to get through. You had to complete that situation. You had to overcome it. Number 6, would you sing a song in front of our class for 100,000 won? Why or why not? All right, answer that question. That is gasang. And if you won the lotto, what would you do? So suddenly, if you won the lotto, what would you do with all that money? What are you going to do? Number 8, is it better to stand out or be similar to everyone? So is it better to be unique, different, one of a kind, or is it better to be the same as everybody else? And number 9, if you could go anywhere, no COVID restrictions, no problem, you can fly anywhere, where are you going to go and why? So where would you go and why? And number 10, do you think there is too much pressure to be successful in Korea? Do you think there is too much pressure to be successful in Korea? All right, guys, so these are the discussion workbook questions. Now, remember, you still have your homework, 5 questions. You also still need to submit your topic for your video project, and you need to take the quiz. And we will do this discussion time later in week 14, okay? Hopefully you understand that. So I'm going to cruise through the rest of the PPT here. So just remember, we are going to be doing our Unit 11 discussion time in week 14 here, okay? So we're still going to do this. Please prepare. You still have to do your homework before next week, okay? Now, the expressions quiz, we're talking about the expressions quiz. That'll be next week. We will do that in next week's class on Wednesday. So that'll be 20 questions, multiple choice, right? So you have to do multiple choice, fill in what you think this answer is going to be. We will use expressions from the discussion workbook, just the sections that we studied, and this will be during the Zoom class, 20 minutes to complete. That test will be on UClass. So you'll log on during class and take that test. The video project I have kind of told you about. So you must submit a topic for approval to me, and you must write a short script and post a video by week 14. All right. So basically your homework for this week is to do your discussion video, okay? Now, you also need to submit your video topic, just your topic, just the topic. You just need to submit your topic for approval. Now, you can find this document explaining the video project on UClass. Okay, so you need to choose a topic, any topic that you want that is interesting and something that people would be interested in watching. Could be a hobby or interest, a vlog, a topic or skill, how-to video, but you must get it approved by me. Now, some prohibited topics, things like how to make ramyun, how to make tteokbokki, bokkeumbap, 재미없어요, it's not that interesting, and your ramyun is not that delicious. So nobody cares about your special ramyun recipe. So don't do that, do something more interesting. Time will be 3 to 5 minutes for one person, 5 to 8 minutes for 2 people. You must submit a script, 300 words for one person, 500 words for 2 people. And important thing is you must show your face while speaking into the camera, all right? So you must show your face while speaking into the camera. This is a presentation project. You can do a little bit of narration, but most of the time you should be speaking into the camera, a vlog style or a PowerPoint presentation style. You must edit your video to make it clean and professional. And subtitles, 자막 필요 없습니다. You don't need subtitles. Now you do need to prepare your script to help you speak, but you don't need to include subtitles. 필요 없습니다. Your points will be based off of your time, your script, your video quality, your creativity, and your speaking. All right. So please take a look at these criteria and follow those to get your score. Some examples of things you could do: daily life, a how-to video, a PowerPoint presentation with video narration. Now, if you go to this link right here, this link is a video that shows you how to make a PPT with video narration, and then you can change it into a video file. It's very convenient, very easy to use. Or you can do an educational video or some type of unboxing video. All right, so you will need to post that to your YouTube link for your project. Okay, so this week you have your homework, is your discussion video. This is due by next Wednesday, and your project topic submission, which is also due by next Wednesday. Now, remember, this is just the video lecture. We will do the discussion time in week 14. So please do all of the things that you need to do. And in order to get today's attendance, you must do the attendance quiz and you must get a passing score. All right. So hopefully this works for everybody. Enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your time. Please watch all of this video and I will see you next week and we will get back to it. All right, I think that's it, guys. I think that's all we're gonna do for today. Yeah, enjoy your time. I will see you later.